We do the mood tracker pretty much every show this time of year, which is quite simply designed to take the temperature of various fan bases. And we chose Penn State tonight. It is the Jesse Memorial Show, even though he's still alive. I'm looking at him right now. Penn State's mood. I came up with a very specific mood for Penn State. The mood amongst Penn State fans right now is what I call survivor's adrenaline. So if you've ever been in a near-death experience, and then all of a sudden you look around and you realize, oh, wow, I'm alive. There's a kind of adrenaline that kicks in. This happens in storm chasing a lot, so I've been around it before. And you feel like you can take on the world. You feel like, wow, if that didn't take me out, that must be my lucky day. Penn State, from a football perspective, Penn State fans, from purely a football perspective, have to have like the most severe case of survivor's adrenaline in the modern era. Because if you think about this time last year, leading up to the season, this is it. This is our year. We got Drew back. We got a veteran team. Look at that tailback room. Look at this defense. What we're going to be top 5 preseason. Look at how the schedule sets up. And then it crashed and burned. And you lose to Oregon. And you lose to UCLA. And you lose to Northwestern. And then James Franklin is fired by Halloween. And then the search commences. And it's ugly. And it is discombobulated. No one knows which direction it's going. And we got Cignetti re-upping at Indiana. Matt Rule, is he or is he not a candidate? And we got like 5 or 10 other names that are in the equation, then they're not in the equation. And you're like, we fired James Franklin. No one wants the job. Who are we going to go get? And then you got certain shows who said from the get-go, you need to go get Matt Campbell. And for reasons that are at this point well enough documented, they didn't target him immediately. Well, then they finally circle back around. 53 days later, all hope seems lost, and then Matt Campbell says yes. And then Matt Campbell brings a vast majority of the top of his roster with him, and you did a fairly decent job of retention, and Penn State, it looks to be okay this year. But more so than just this year, Penn State as a football program could have been ejected clear out into the Big Ten wilderness. Quick 5-second timeout. Check and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It keeps it free. We love you. All right, back to the show. You could have been hanging out with Maryland and Rutgers. It could have gone that far downhill. And instead, Penn State, they could win 10 games this year. It's a workable schedule. It's a good roster. You don't have a quarterback needing to learn a new system or anything like that. They went and got one of the premier defensive coordinators in college football in Danton Lynn out of USC. Penn State's fine. After all that, Penn State's fine. It's like you were left for dead as a program, and you were mocked and you were ridiculed, rightfully so, by the way. The coaching search was a disaster, and the car's rolling and it's rolling, and then it comes to a stop, and wow, we landed on our tires. Wow, seatbelt was on, airbags deployed. We're good. I cannot believe it. We're fine. We're good. And Matt Campbell's your head coach now. I don't know how it could have turned out any better. I don't even know, and I'm not talking about Penn State fans here, but administratively, I don't know if Penn State deserved for it to turn out as well as it did, but it turned out much better than it should have. So that is the mood amongst Penn State fans now. And I do think, and I said it from the beginning, that Matt Campbell was at Iowa State for a long time. I know Matt Campbell fairly well. There were not many places he was ever going to entertain leaving Ames, Iowa for, because he loved it there. He loved Toledo before he went to Iowa State. So Matt Campbell's not a guy who's just kind of looking for the next big thing, looking for the next big job. He turned down a lot of them. But I always thought that Penn State was one of about 5 maximum jobs that he may leave for, because what it's about at its core is what Matt Campbell is about at his core. I really think it's kind of like a puzzle piece fit. And I say that sometimes when I describe a coach whose DNA, whose values and principles really closely align with the program he's at or the program he's going to. That is Matt Campbell going to Penn State. And man, I know if you're a fan, you had no control over the way the season played out last year or the way the coaching search turned out, but yet you're living and dying with every every heartbeat of the program. And to look at where we are now, and especially compared to where it could have gone and how badly it could have gone off the rails, that's survivor adrenaline. It is March 1st, which means March 3rd is 2 days from now. So, as I have told you before, I moved to Nashville in early 2020. Now, 2020 was an insane year for a lot of reasons. But in Nashville, not only did COVID hit in spring, but a deadly tornado hit in spring. And it kind of sideswiped my building, and it forced us to leave for a week. But it completely leveled some buildings across from me. So we were spared. Not everyone was, though. So there were nearly 24 fatalities just in the Nashville area. This was an EF4 tornado. It was on the ground for a long time. It was in the middle of the night. It was crazy. As you guys know, we partner with the Magnolia Foundation. So the genesis of that, and we're coming up on the 6-year anniversary of this tornado is the reason I mentioned this today. It's because March 3rd, 2020 was when that tornado came through. Well, since then, we met a guy by the name of Matt Collins who watches the show. He's watched the show for a long time. And he let me know one day that his family got hit by that tornado. They live out in Cookeville, which is a little bit east of Nashville. And they survived, but they lost their little girl in the tornado. And so he shares the story with me, and then he tells me about all of the unexpected expenses that you have anytime you have a funeral, but especially when it involves a child. And he said it completely devastated us, and we went through a lot of heartbreak, but we also learned a lot going through the process. And we realized if we're going through this, anyone who loses a child is going through this, we got to figure out a way to help. They started their own foundation, the Magnolia Foundation. And what they do is they try and cover cost as much as they can for families who lose children. And we have worked with them. We've partnered with them for about a year now. And they do phenomenal work. And there's a lot of, as you would imagine, unforeseen expense that goes into this sort of thing. So we launched products in our store, and proceeds go to the Magnolia Foundation. So you can see there's a picture of it right now if you're watching it on YouTube. PateStateMaterial.com, you can find those items. But when we first talked about this on the show, refreshingly, I found out a lot of you kind of bypassed the store, which I'm fine with. You went straight to the Magnolia Foundation website and said, how do I just donate directly? Well, I'll tell you, magnoliafoundation.com/give. And Matt hit me up and let me know the kinds of numbers that our audience specifically was responsible for. And we told you on a show a couple of months ago how many funeral costs were totally covered by our audience giving. And so, man, I appreciate it so much. And he's not here, but if he were here, he would say that times 100. And you got to know, I mean, you'll never meet most of these families that you're helping out, but they appreciate it. We had Matt stop by the studio a couple of weeks ago, actually. So if you want to give directly, you can go to magnoliafoundation.com/give, or you can buy one of the items in our store because portions of those proceeds go to the Magnolia Foundation. Either way, we appreciate you guys because it's tough, man. You hear, there is no laid back story. There is no good story. Those aren't happy endings stories that you're getting. But what you are getting is an opportunity to help. And we always want to take advantage of that.